So now what you're highlighting is, and we all knew they were only going to keep 2 of 3 long term, and most assume that Moro would be sort of the same route as Milton Williams, and he'd be the guy who would play out his rookie deal and sign elsewhere. But now, boy, there's a lot of talk about Jalen Carter being shopped, even though you'll see the Eagles are taking calls similar to AJ. He's trying to jump through hoops to get AJ out of here, which tells you what's going on there long term. And by the way, I don't think he's going to do it at the new league year, but don't get all excited because the draft's coming. Now you have this other window in late August that Micah Parsons sort of opened up, and you have the in-season trade deadline. To me, it's not if anymore, it's when he's traded. And I don't think it's going to be before the start of the new league year.
I'm going to have you elaborate on that a little later on, but go ahead, continue.
So from the standpoint of Jalen Carter, it's, I think the Eagles are starting to envision a life with Jordan Davis and Moro Ojomo and the assets they can get for Jalen Carter. You look at Max Crosby getting 2 first-round picks. Well, can Jalen Carter get 2 first-round picks? So ask yourself, if they can get that kind of haul, would you rather have 2 first-round picks plus Jordan Davis plus Moro Ojomo, or would you rather just have Jalen Carter and Jordan Davis? It's an interesting question. I don't know if they can get 2 first-round picks. Because fair or not, Jalen has a little bit of a reputation.
Right.
But if you can, it's interesting. It's an interesting.
Yeah, at the very least, it's an enticing conversation. At the very least, even if you want to keep Carter, you're probably thinking about that. John, no doubt about that's a big money contract for Jordan Davis. You said he's been a 2-down player, which is correct, and this contract is a projection of it being a 3-down, him being a 3-down player. John, you talk a lot about projection and evaluation because you're right. It's such a big part of the GM job. Is this a bad projection here by the Eagles to pay Jordan Davis this type of money, given how many 3rd-down snaps he's played in his career?
Well, he played really well last season. I mean, he got himself into shape, as we've talked about with the Peloton and all the stuff that you've heard. And also he's turned into, a tremendous leader. I think that factors into it. That's a guy you want around everybody, want around the building. I think that's a part of it. But, you don't pay guys for that. They paid him because he played really well. They challenged him and he played really well and he answered the bell. So can he take that next step? Well, that's the trick. The evaluation part of it is the trick. It's always the trick. And it's always hard to, that's where things can go awry. But, he did impact. If you look at the similar players who are sort of run players who get paid, the Dexter Lawrences, Vita Vea to a certain extent, even Lynn McNeil before he got hurt in Detroit, they're all good run players, but they also affect the pass. Now the problem right now is, a lot of the reasons he didn't get an opportunity to play on 3rd down is because the Eagles had 2 defensive tackles that are so good on 3rd down.
Right. It's a big part of it for sure.
Yeah. So, if he were on a different team, maybe it would look better. And again, you'd like to live in a world where you could have all 3, but you can't. So you got to make these difficult decisions. And, is he a better, run and pass player than Moro Ojomo? Yeah, he is, because Moro's not good against the run. He's very light. He's getting better. But so he's definitely a more well-rounded player. And then, of course, Carter's, different from a talent standpoint. So I'm not going to put him in the conversation. If they move him, it'll be for different reasons, but health and some of those maturity issues, and maybe they're challenging him behind the scenes, and maybe he takes the baton just like Jordan Davis did. but he played very well.
Considering Jordan Davis's deal size, that baton might be 40 million, John, for Jalen Carter.
Well, and that's the other part. How high do you want to go, for Jalen Carter? When you start talking about potentially what can you get for him? How
Do you
high do
think
you
it's
want to
two
go?
first, though? I don't know if it's two first.
I don't think they can get to first, no. I mean, you gotta be really good and really, um trying to find the word where you gotta be able to be counted on week after week, year after year. I mean, consistent, just star power. Um, like I've said with one of my concerns, they never leaves the field, year after year. Now, bad team, but you can count on that guy. Micah Parsons.
In a way, John, Jordan Davis has been similar. I mean, 13 games his rookie year, and then 17, 17, 17 for 3 straight years. He's been healthy.
Well, he has, but the difference between him and Max is Max has been out there for 1,000 snaps, and
well, Max
Jordan
plays what 90% of the snaps as compared to
Well,
Jordan.
that's what I'm taught. That was part of the issue with Jordan Davis was, um, early in his career wasn't playing a lot of snaps to say the least. So, but the star power of and injuries come into it again, the injury rate. But Micah Parsons up to that point had been lights out from production, durability, week to week consistency. So those are the guys who generate that type of. I'm not sure Jalen Carter's at that level, but doesn't hurt to ask.
No doubt. And Jordan Davis deal is massive. Congrats to Jordan Davis. He did have a big year, John. They asked a lot of him, and he certainly delivered. Had a great year. Now it's exciting to see what's coming. John, on our breaking news segment, you brought up something interesting, and it kind of goes to the conversation today about if you shop Jalen Carter or Ojomo or what they're going to do with the other 2 tackles that they have. Will the Eagles even want to go into this season with all 3 guys on the roster? They're all under contract, but will they want to go into the season? You asked the question. If it's 3rd down and you're Vic Fangio, is Vic going to prioritize the contract, or is he going to put the 2 best pass rushers on the football field? And then you must answer the question, is Jordan Davis better to have on the field at that point than Moro Ojomo and Jalen Carter? If he is not, John, you are in a similar scenario where he's a 2-down player. How do you think the Eagles handle that? And do you think they'll make a move at that position before the start of the new year?
No, I ultimately, because I don't think, I think the only thing they would do is that type of monster deal for Carter. Otherwise, all 3 will be back. And to me, this is a clear indication they're going to kick the can down the road with Jalen Carter. They're going to pick up his 5th-year option, which is enormous, by the way, because he's already made 2 Pro Bowls, so it's over $27 million. So if you consider his 5th-year option, Jordan Davis's was 13, so it's more than twice as big. But that's also 2027, not this season. So you have some time with Jalen Carter, and then Moro Ojomo. You're in the Milton Williams situation with Moro. He's playing out his rookie deal, and if he plays well, he's going to break the bank. But you're not going to move him because of the talent right now, and then you sort of have to wait a year for Jordan Davis to become more of an impact on passing downs. Because, I mean, Vic's going to play the guys who are the best pass rushers on third obvious passing situations. That'd be nuts to not. So if they're here, they're going to play on 3rd downs.